How many pairs of swimming trunks does one man need? Hello and welcome to Best Motorcycle Roads. I'm Tom.
And I'm Todd. Together we have over 65 years of combined motorcycling experience and 30 years of planning and riding motorcycle trips. We're here to share with you everything we've learned over those years.
Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is simple. Make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. We'll dive into technology, planning, packing, the routes, other tips, and everything in between.
From essential prep to unforgettable routes, we've got you covered.
Before we kickstart today's journey, we ask you to sign up for our BMR Rider Alerts. It's our way of keeping you in the loop with the latest rides, tips, and stories. We promise no spam, only the essentials to enhance your motorcycle adventures. Join the BMR crew today. We'll put a link in the show notes. This segment about motorcycle gear reviews and tips we call the Toolkit. Today's toolkit has rock straps in it. I don't know if you've ever used the rock strap.
I have not used the rock straps.
Rock straps are awesome. So they're stuff to use to tie luggage or gear on, but what's unique about them is one end is polyester with like a plastic, clasp, but the other side is like a little bit elastic.
Okay.
So what you can do is you hook them up to your bike. Usually they loop through, the loop. And then when you connect them and then you tighten it down all the way, then when your bike jumps or moves a little bit, it doesn't loosen because it's got a little give to it.
And is rock strap a
It's
type
the brand.
It's a brand.
That's the brand.
R-O-C-K?
Yep.
Or R-O-K?
R-O-K.
R-O-K, okay.
And I've never seen anybody copy them quite yet, so maybe they have the patent, but they come in, I think, 3/4 inch, maybe 1 inch sizes, and they're just wonderful. Anytime you're trying to tie those, you've got some luggage on your back that's tightly coupled, and that's fine, but anytime you're trying to tie on seats or anything like that, there's just always a little bit of give, and these things are the bomb diggity.
And where can I find rock straps?
You can find them online, I'm sure. Almost every place that carries motorcycle stuff has rock straps.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes even at some of the farm stores, but...
So like Revzilla would have...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Luggage, it's really great for luggage for overnight trips, too, because then you can just pop them, and they come off, super easy. But they don't... You've seen it before when we've tried to tie things down tightly, and then it just loosens up over time, and pretty soon half the bag's hanging over, running into the muffler. You get to the next stop, and your bag's actually on fire. Or you're dragging it down the road by one strap. Yeah, rock straps.
Rock straps. All right.
And they do cover the covers, and then some of them actually have a little reflectivity to them too.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
RideWise is the section we focus on planning and safety tips. Today's RideWise segment, I want to talk about a couple of things you can do along group rides when you're stopping, like a visual inspection.
Yeah.
So many times that we've caught things in the nick of time because we've done just a quick visual inspection, and things like tire pressure. I know on the
How many times?
Yeah. It seems like every trip there's something with tire pressure, but I just on this last
and it's
trip.
because it's such a pain in the butt, honestly.
It really is.
I mean, now with some of the newer bikes has the TPS sensors, so you can bring it up on the computer, but we're getting old. We have to get down on the ground to
it hurts
check
to lay on that hard ground.
It's not so bad getting down. Getting back up.
Getting back up is tough. So yeah, check tire pressures. Check your lights. More than one time I've lost a headlight.
Yeah.
On a trip, and luckily we didn't get into dusk and dark. Before I got something
it's
switched.
good to mitigate it though too. So if you lose a headlight, just tuck you back in one behind, so you're kind of not in front, or if you lose taillight, go to the back.
Yeah.
Don't go all the way to the back.
Good point. And carry an extra bulb.
Right.
That's an easy one too. Check for any loose straps. So you're just talking about rock straps, but we've often had straps dangling, flapping in the breeze, getting caught in the tire, all that kind of stuff. So
cause damage.
It certainly can. And then look for loose bolts, any brackets. We've had Side panels fall off motorcycles while we've been riding and get run over. We've had kickstands come loose.
Yep.
We've had camera brackets, drop. We've had mirrors drop.
I had a fog light fall off once.
We had a fog light fall off. We've had the highway peg,
Yep.
fall off. So yeah, just kind of go around and kind of check all that stuff. At each stop, I mean, it just take you a minute or two to a quick walk around, especially when everyone else is filling up with fuel or grabbing something to drink. You have that time and look at each other's bikes. Sometimes you get used to looking at your bike so much you don't see it. It's like a blind spot for you. So, and then just one other thing, reapply your sunscreen.
We've talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten myself burned in the face more than one time, or the back of my hands, because I haven't put enough sunscreen on or reapplied it, after you kind of sweat it out. And just make sure you're taking enough rest breaks while you're riding. We've talked about hydration before, but stretch, make sure you're not going to, get that hip cramp, and give your shoulders a break. And just stretch, move around, keep everything limber when you're taking those breaks.
Absolutely. The next segment is what we call the mile marker. It's our story segment. For today's mile marker, we're going to talk about maybe a first overnight trip. Todd and I are both administrators in a Facebook group called Motorcycle Trips and Advice. It's something we started 10 years ago or so, and highly recommend that group. We police it pretty heavily. I should say I police it pretty heavily.
Yeah.
We have strict rules where we're really only talking about advice to make the next person's trip the best it can be. Hence some of the stuff we talk about here in the podcast. But honestly, there's no event posting. There's no just photos of your bike. There's no memes. It's really just you asking people who have been on the road doing the thing that you want to do. And one of the questions that came in is like, help us with the first overnight trip. What should we know? And we've talked a little bit about it before, I think, but really one of the things I like to talk about is really just kind of circling maybe your location. So even if you're going to do a few 100, 500, 700 miles, maybe keep your home base in the middle of that. You can circle around it. It makes it a lot easier to get home quickly if something goes bad. So that's just a one quick tip no matter where you're riding. We've talked about before, we ride here out of Iowa in the Midwest. So lots of recommendations came in for this one on the Motorcycle Trips and Advice Facebook group. But the Great River Road, we've had an episode about that. But anything around Savannah, La Crosse, Wisconsin, it's nice. You can go up one side, down the other. Up Iowa, Minnesota, down Wisconsin, Illinois, vice versa. And someone had pointed out that Illinois 84, that's a great ride. That'd be north of Savannah on the Illinois side, and it's a beautiful, beautiful ride.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about Wisconsin Highway 35. It's kind of one of our favorites. We're generally riding home on that one coming from the north. It's the Great River Road as well. Just unbelievable rides, bluffs. We've talked about the locks and dams that you can see, the train tracks. It has a little bit of everything. Gentle rolling curves and hills.
Yeah.
Mississippi Palisades State Park is around there as well. That's just outside of Savannah. We're riders and kind of eaters, but there's a lot of people that like to ride, hike, do some other things. There's some great trails and views of the Mississippi River from there. The Effigy Mounds is more of a national monument. That's kind of cool. It's near Harper's Ferry, Iowa. It's Native American burial grounds and just a ton of scenic overlooks there. And then there's also, I think, in that same area by Cassville, the Nelson Dewey State Park. And then if you're going to Cassville, you might as well take the ferry, right? That's cool. Yeah. It's an old ferry. It's very slow moving. You pull the bike on, put the kickstand in 5 minutes, and you're there.
Yeah.
The first time we rode it, I just remember we rode up, and you literally go, and there's a metal box, flip it open, and then there's a red button, call the ferry, and you're like, you push it, and you have no idea if it's coming or not.
Yeah.
There's no voice saying, yeah.
No, I was thinking there was a phone there, but you're right.
It's a button. That's right. Call for ferry, I think is what it says. But in those same veins, food around the area that it's kind of popular is Poopy's Pub and Grub, That's in Savannah, kind of a biker place. It's got everything you need: beer, tattoo, and burgers. So, no, but that's a fun place. Really big music venue. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. You can tell it's nice for that. The Barn restaurant is in Prairie du Chien. That's a pretty cool place. On the Iowa side, there is the Balltown Family Restaurant. That's kind of a classic. And then also Potosi Brewing Company. Now, I don't think you've hit that yet.
I haven't
but
been there yet.
Brad and Mike and I did that on a run, and they have like a museum. There's a great story about that if you have time and check out YouTube. But Potosi is a very small town. It's tiny. And the brewing company was there, and then it went out of business, and a man did a fundraiser to get it going back again. And it's kind of the thing that's kind of holding that town together. And it's neat. It's well worth the stop. Good restaurant. Really, really, really solid place to go.
What's the town?
Potosi.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Potosi,
it's in
okay.
Potosi. So,
Yeah.
So, when it comes to doing those rides of that way, though, I think just hitting some of those classic roads that are around you for the first trip. What else do you got for first trip ideas?
Yeah, so you're thinking about like just getting used to riding longer.
Yeah, staying
rides.
overnight.
Yeah.
What to pack.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. Just kind of stay in your area in case you needed to be home, or you're just not feeling right about it.
I mean, that's the story of the motorcycle that I'm riding now. Is the guy bought it, had it fully customized. Him and his wife were going to ride it to Alaska. He brought it home, and at 84 miles, they started doing a ride together. They put on 25 miles. She says, "Yeah, I'm not riding this thing a mile more." So you just don't know, I mean, I think it takes time to figure out the right clothes, the right helmet, the right this, the right that. So
to be comfortable. Yeah.
And don't forget your swim trunks. That's why I own 4 of the exact same pair, because every time...
Tell us that story. Yeah, why do you own more than one?
Well, because every time we'd go, I'd forget, and so then I'd go to Walmart and buy the exact same pair of swimming trunks.
Because you like that pair? That's all
No,
they
because it
sell?
was
or
like
what?
3 years in a row. They just had the one pair, So I have 3 pairs of the exact same pair of swimming
Gotcha.
trunks. So you never know, You just... But it's also a lesson, I think, maybe, and you've talked about this a few times, is pack it up what you think you're going to need, and then take half out.
Yeah.
And then you probably still have too much.
Right. Yeah, I'm a classic overpacker, and if I could just stick to that all the time, I'd be fine, but I can't.
I think you're a late packer, not an
Well,
overpacker.
I'm that too.
You just need to attach the launder basket to the bike, and you'll be fine.
I'm going to try that now next time as well.
Is there a cover for that? Do they make a cover? The podcast can be found on bestmotorcycleroads.com/podcast. All the information you need will be there. But you can subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, Pocket Casts, and YouTube.
This is the interactive segment. We will be looking for input from you. We want you to send us your questions and suggestions for roads, topics, and anything else you have on your mind. Today's Roadside Q&A comes from Tim, and Tim was just kind of asking about how do you find local information, in all the various places. And I know you've talked about, chambers of commerce, and, Google searching and things like that. But, honestly, Facebook groups, the Motorcycle Roads and Trips Advice is a great group.
Yeah, that's the group we admin. But the Motorcycle Map is another good one.
Motorcycle Map's a good one.
Both of those are positive groups. There's a bunch of groups out there, and you know how it is. I mean, well, did you Google it first? There's all that garbage. But both of those are very helpful people wanting to help people out and find things. And we've seen, it's interesting. I know that there's a post in there right now I'm looking, best roads in Idaho, best roads here, best roads there. There's someone from everywhere there. I think the Motorcycle Trips and Advice has about 25,000 people in it now, and all helpful.
Yeah, all helpful.
Nice.
Otherwise, you get rid of them.
Yeah,
anyway.
I ditch them quick.
But
no shameless self-promotion, as I always tell them.
Right. Yeah, Tom runs a pretty tight ship in there, but no, honestly, those groups are great because it's people just wanting to help out. And...
Well, most people in there are nice, and then you get 2 or 3 people that are jerks, and then they want to, yammer all the time about it. And I don't know, when you start kicking people out quickly like that, people will contribute more. And I think that's what I've seen with it is there's plenty of places to go out there and meme and do all these other things. People want solid advice from people that have been there. Don't give advice if you haven't been there, And no, I don't want to watch your motorcycle video. Like
Yeah.
we just don't post that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's great, both of those. So
Yep. I hope that helps, Tim.
yeah. Now it's time for the last mile. It's our way to close the episode with our reflections of everything we've talked about. The best first trip is the first one, right? I mean, like, you can have a best second trip, but is that kind of like you don't get a first chance to make a second impression?
Okay.
But
I think that's how it goes. Something like that.
But I don't know. You just got to take it, and maybe you just wait till the day's nice so you don't have to have rain gear right away. But just go do it. I mean, like, even if you turn around and not go as far as you think you can go, if you don't get out there and try it, you don't know. And you and I both discussed this from probably podcast 1. It's just we enjoy being out there having fun and just the silliness of it. And if you think you want to be an ultra planner, then ultra plan it, And if you think you want to just wing it and see what happens. And, sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. But I think we've found great things in both of those things. And highly planned trips have been very good, and lightly planned trips have been very good. And, I think you say it a lot, and I think about it is don't be afraid to just, stop sometimes if you see something interesting. It's just, that's the randomness of it too. So one of the things that I think I'd like to do more of, I think, is just stop at more of those, like some of those little history spots, and just, I think we pass by a lot of things that were probably more interesting than we think.
Yeah. I agree, Tom. I really like the idea of, if you haven't been on a multi-day, 3, 4, 5 day trip, and you want to start with a 1 or 2 day trip. I love that idea. Just stay a little more local. I mean, you could stay at a hotel, of course, and that, but maybe do the loop around where you're at.
Yep.
Because you just don't know until you've done it. You just don't know, how's my back going to do? How are my legs going to do? My wrists going to do? Will I need to get a throttle lock? Maybe, you're out for 2 days and you go, geez, I can't hang on to the handlebar that long, so I need to come home and put a throttle lock on. So, yeah, kind of ease your way into it. Maybe that first time, bring it just a couple of friends and give it a try. But
and if you're bringing, you've rode 2 up enough, and that's a very different experience as well.
It's very different,
for both rider and passenger. So,
yeah.
And there's a lot of club rides around if you want to go for long day rides. I know there's a motorcycle like riders club in the Eastern Iowa and all over. A lot of those used to be Goldwing clubs, and now they kind of converted to general. But those people camp a lot, and they'll have a couple 3-day thing, and they're pretty general. They actually, the rides that I've on with them, they've always had a car that comes with too, and some people will get in there for a little while and then swap out, and so that's another option, too, is if you're just completely not sure, take a car and a bike.
True, but I would caution people, if you're going to go on your first long ride, maybe not a big group. That can be a little stressful.
Yes.
That can cause some anxiety if you haven't done that before.
Definitely.
And, maybe a group of 2, 3 to 5 and not 25.
Right.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
If this episode revved up your day, don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share it with your crew. We're all about the thrill of the ride and the bond it creates.
Keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads. The stories ride forever. Take care.